Hey, dude, what's up?
What's up?
So, do you know if everybody's coming that you had invited, or is it just okay? Cool.
Yeah, I think it's just me and Ryan.
Okay,
Oh, there's Luke.
Lucas made it too.
Wouldn't miss it for the world, guys.
There you go. What percentage chance do you think about Melissa? Probably a 0 or 100. What are you getting closer to?
15 to 20.
0.
I'd say zero. I don't think she's been to the meetings this week.
All right,
So
cool. Well then, I will get started, and honestly, if she misses a little bit of it, it won't be that big of a deal. So,
Melissa and I have gone through your little GDF run through it like once or twice already. I'm just here to get it again because I miss you.
here we go. All right. So, I sent y'all an email. First off, I granted y'all access to this dcloud, so y'all can fuck with it if you want. That being said, I didn't actually do anything for this. I just used the existing test application. But I do want to walk through it real quick and basically what it's doing. So this is the Cisco side of the house, right? All of it plugs into this element right here, which is a built-in element from Cisco to interface with Google Dialogflow. So starts the call. CVP subdialog starts in there, but it just starts. It's another part of starting the call. So those two both start the call. Here is the element, and it basically takes that input from the user and interfaces with Dialogflow, and it just loops over and over and over and over and over again until, if you look here, this is a decision editor. If the intent is agent transfer or exit, then it leaves. I don't actually have these intents in mind. These are the intents that they had in theirs. So we're just going to loop over and over and over and over again. But let's say if we did want to do it the way that they're doing it, we could have an intent called agent transfer, an intent called exit, and then it would end. It wouldn't loop over and over anymore. So all that to say, basically we're just going to be inside of Dialogflow. This part is just to kind of show you that this is what it looks like inside of Cisco, and all the magic's going to happen over here. So I also granted y'all access to this. I think I sent you the URL, so you should be able to access this also and fuck around with it, change, add, whatever y'all want to do. So I have. Hold on just a second. The number is 919-474-5711. That's the number for the application from Cisco. So y'all can. I'll just text it. Right. Reply to all. I'm just gonna subtract Melissa since she's not here, and I just sent that number. But that's so y'all can play with it later. So if we call that number right now, the way I have it set up right now is the first thing is this Dialogflow element has a initiation text. So basically, this is the first thing that it sends to Dialogflow, so that Dialogflow knows where to start. So inside of here, I have an element called start with that same initiation text. So this is going to start right here. So the first thing would happen is when you call in, it's going to say, "Hello, this is our test app. Please say whatever you want to say." And then, just for the sake of having something in there, I went ahead and set up an element called favorite food. And so this one is my favorite food is, and then hamburgers is is what's in here as the example, but it's actually a parameter, and the parameter I labeled that as food item. So if you called in and it said say whatever you want to say, and you say my favorite food is hamburgers, or if you let's say you said my favorite food is pizza, then its response is going to be sounds like your favorite food is pizza. Is that right? And then if you go here, I have items under it. So let's talk about this. These are built in, so whenever you have an item, you can just click add follow-up intent, and you got yes and no and fallback. So yes is automatically pre-populated with a whole bunch of yes phrases. Yes, okay, I will. Why not? Yes, that's all right. Yes, I do. Exactly, of course. And no is the same thing, but with no phrases. Fallback is basically a element that automatically matches to anything that everything else doesn't match to. So if they say something that is no, it's going to go to no, or in the list of no's, right? If they say something that's in the list of yeses, it's going to go to yes. And if they say literally anything else, it's going to go to fallback. And inside of fallback here, this is your context. So the context for this element is the follow-up to fave food. And I just added that same context going out. So, and the message I said, sorry, I missed that. Was that a yes or a no? So let's say you come in here and you say, my favorite food is toilet paper, right? I'm sure you probably didn't mean to say that. So it's going to say, okay, your favorite food is toilet paper. Is that right? And you say, no. Then it's going to match to no. But if you say, hamburgers, I meant to say hamburgers, then it's going to recognize that you didn't say yes or no. It's going to come in here and it's going to say, sorry, I missed that. Was that a yes or a no? And it's going to put you back in that same context where you can say yes or no. The other thing is with this, so these are training phrases. These are different ways that a customer might say the thing that you're trying to get them to say. So, for example, I could come in here and I could say, hot dogs.
Steamed hams.
Sure. I mean, it's that part doesn't matter because when you like, it's not actually saying hamburgers. That's the food item, and the food item is a type of cis any. So already you could say my favorite food is canned hams, or canned yams, or whatever, right?
Cool.
Yeah. So what you would do here is like so just changing the order of it, you could add this, and now there are two ways that they can say it. They could say, canned yams is my favorite food, or my favorite food is canned yams. And both of those would work the same way, and both of those would prompt this same response of, sounds like your favorite food item is canned yams, is that right? So does somebody want to, I know this is a simple example, does somebody want to call and put their phone on speaker so we can see this is in progress? If not, I can do it.
Sure, I'll do
What'd
it.
you say? Okay.
Is it the 919 number?
I sent it in email. Not yet, 919. That's right.
Hello, this is our test staff. Please say whatever you want to say.
My favorite food is hamburgers.
Sounds like your favorite food is hamburgers. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, I like that food too.
So that's all I have in there right now, but that's the whole test case. So let's add one more real quick. along the same type of idea as far as the using, sysany, and then we'll look at some other examples of maybe like what customers have done with it. So, what's somebody give me an example of something that we could add that's kind of similar to this? Like my favorite car, my favorite sport, or something like that. Like, what do we want to try?
League of Legends champion.
All right, let's do it. Also, I will say, they have the sysany is what we're using right now. Hold on just a sec, let me. All right. So the sysany is what we're using right now, but there are some situations where you might want to restrict what they're able to say, and they have different system built parameters. You can also build your own. So real quickly, I'll go show that.
I got a quick question.
go ahead.
So, because of the spelling of Yumi, how is it going to pick that up?
The spelling
Would it be
actually
better
doesn't
if-
matter. It completely ignores whatever you have in this highlighted area.
Okay,
It-
okay.
it-
So I
this
was like,
is-
it doesn't have to be like YOO, basically.
Yeah, I mean it could be, boogerhead cootie queen, whatever you want it to be, right? Like the sysany is what it's actually when you have it as a parameter, it's looking for sysany. So it's not this word actually doesn't matter. My favorite champ, it could be it actually, I mean, with the way it's set up, it could be something that's not a champ. It could be, my favorite League of Legends champ is Goku, right? It could,
Okay.
and it's not going to do anything about that. And that's why you have these different things. So you have these entities. So you could create a new entity that's League of Legends, League Champ, or something like that, right? And then in here, you could do that, right? And you could list every single champion. And so that creates a new. Let me. I'll just go ahead and do 2 in here, and then. All right. So now we have one that you can put in only these 2 values. So if you came back here, and let's say inside of here you wanted to do. So now we have this new thing, any champ. No, that's the same thing we're already using. What did I name it? League? Yeah, okay. Now we have this new thing, League Champ, right? So basically, this is different from this, right? So this one is sysany, so you can use any word or number or anything in there. This one that we just created only can be the 2 things that we put in, Yumi or Aatrox, right?
So that would be like saying departments and stuff like that. Then
Right. Well,
you could
if-
like make a department list.
Sure. Yeah, you could use it in that way. For the customers that we've already worked with, we haven't done that. We have separate intents, and each intent has hard-coded values for the department. But for this instance that we just put in right now, if we left it like this, you could say Champ Yumi or Champ Aatrox. But if you said Champ Yasuo, not going to work.
Does it take into
Gotcha.
account for like 2-worded answers? So let's say like Vel cause, would it just pick up the first part, or would it pick up both parts?
I don't know if it would actually recognize you saying Vel'Koz, because it's a pretty weird thing to say on the IVR, but that would probably be something that you'd have to experiment with. If you if it picked it up as 2 words, it probably wouldn't recognize it, unless maybe you had they'll cause as 2 words inside of here, and that's why also I'll leave this and not change it. Inside of here, you've got your synonyms, and it's the same as over there where you can have multiple values. So let's say Aatrox for some reason kept coming out in the system as a truck, right, or something like that. You can have that in there also. So now if they say Yuumi, or they say Aatrox, or they say a truck, it's still going to match to one of these. So if they said a truck, it would actually match to Aatrox, and you would spit out, oh, it looks like you're talking about Aatrox instead of a truck, because it's a synonym for this. So that's the entities, and then inside of here, I didn't update that. So now if you said my favorite League of Legends champion is Yuumi, it would spit out something like your favorite champ is Yuumi. Is that right? So those are, it's still sys_any. I didn't add it or change it to the thing. But also an example of that, like you could use system built-in ones like my favorite number is right? And so now it'll only take numbers, it won't take words for that phrase. So so I'm just going to leave it just this one phrase in here, and then I'll also show y'all what I did for the yes, no, and stuff, because it's really easy once that part's done. So you add follow-up intent, yes. Boom. It's already built with all the yeses automatically put in, and then you would just put in your phrase that you want to say when they say yes. You also have no, and you have fallback, and fallback again is anything that doesn't match to the other items, so yes or no. You have other ones that I don't or haven't used in the past, so later, cancel, those are just going to have different phrases that are very similar to what you would expect for cancel. So like stop it, never mind, just forget about it, do nothing. So since we've got that and y'all kind of know how it works, I'll show y'all some of the customers that we've done. So this is the main South Campus, so the South Hospital's mainline number for Colorado. So for them, they just have a whole bunch of different departments. You've had allergy or clinical or COVID testing, and inside of each of these, they have a few phrases that match to that. So let's take, for example, gastroenterology. You got GI, you got gastro, you got stomach doctor, gastroenterologist, digestive health institute, gastroenterology, liver center, hepatology, DHI, and the customer can come in, and the first thing that the application does, because this application does not look like this. This application does look something different, and then it uses this dialog flow element inside of it. And we don't actually do any responses in this one. We're actually just taking the name of this and running it against a database inside of Cisco to see what we should respond with. So it's actually completely separate, but it is using this phrases down here to guess what it is that they're calling about. So for this one, it's the first thing that happens is they say what department are you calling about. You can say things like this, and this, right? And it gives like 3 examples. And they say gastro, then Cisco is going to get back this gastroenterology, and then it looks that up against the database and responds with, okay, let me transfer you to, and then it transfers you to that place. So it's all hard-coded. It's not using the variables in this one. It's in fact, sometimes it'll automatically give a variable, and you have to like delete it so that it doesn't, because it guesses sometimes. So like if you're putting in something that like stomach doctor, and it thinks, oh, doctor, you mean professional or something instead, and so it could be doctor or stomach nurse or stomach something, and you're like, no, that's not what I meant. I meant exactly stomach doctor. You have to delete the automatically created variable. Also, I was going to say one more thing about that, but I've forgotten. Do you have any questions about that?
You good?
Inside of here, so training and history are the same type of thing, but they're slightly different in the structure of them. But basically, training and history are the different conversations that actual customers have. So you'll see this person came in. The first thing they said was gastroenterology, and then they said yes. This person came in. They said admissions, and we're asking them, "Oh, are you sure are you talking about admissions?" And then they say, "Yeah." Orthopedics, yes. So these are all matches, but you can actually sort by conversations that didn't match. So I don't know why someone would call the hospital and say Lobster Shack. Last month, be careful, close. A laboratory. Okay, she left. I have no clue how that conversation happened. But I don't think there's anything in here that we would want to add to a intent. This one, COVID test, that actually does match because I think we added COVID to COVID because sometimes the system picks up COVID instead of COVID. But COVID-19, and then we asked them, do you mean COVID-19? And they said David Maxine. We don't know why that happened. Then they said vaccine. That got them to the COVID line again because that's another phrase inside of COVID. And then they said yes. So the reason this counts as a no match conversation, even though they got to the right place, is because we don't know what the fuck they meant when they said David Maxine. And if they like, let's say this is the name of a doctor or something, and the hospital wanted to add David Maxine as a phrase for one of those departments, they absolutely could. And then the next time somebody said David Maxine, it would match. But because we didn't and they haven't, this is a not matched conversation. And even though they got to the right place, because it looks like they said vaccine, and then they said, we think you're calling about COVID-19, they say yes. This counts as a no match conversation. We also have analytics built into the platform, so you can see like what the frequency of calls are. You can see high frequency of languages, so you can see we obviously don't have very many Spanish callers at any given moment, but there was one right there. There was one right there. There was some points where there's multiple. Like this one had 10 interactions with 3 calls at that time, or 3 interactions for Spanish right there. You've got the intent, so this is the amount of times people have said what they've said. So as you can see, yes and no, obviously that's happening for every conversation. They're coming through, we say, are you sure that's what you meant to say? And they say yes. But if you disregard that, obviously the most frequently searched for item on that in the last week is urgent care. People are calling in and saying, let me get to I'm in trouble, or I can't breathe, or something like that, and then we route them to urgent care. That's the most frequent one. Default fallback intent is whenever they don't match to anything, and we explained that before, right? But in this context, default fallback intent is saying it didn't match to anything in here, right? And so that's a huge amount of no matches. It's basically meaning that they didn't hit anything. And so whenever you get a default fallback intent there, you're talking like, okay, this is the conversations, like the no match conversations. We need to figure out what that should have gone to. That you got operator, radiology. So those are 3 of the most frequently used is urgent care, operator, radiology, ortho, and you can see that they're all ranked if you go all the way down. Any questions about any of that?
Nothing so far.
Let me think. Spanish. So if we go back to this one, which is the project that we were just messing with, right? It has it. Okay, well, it starts out with not having these two tabs right here, right? When you come in here and you want to have multiple languages, you enable or you add a separate language besides English. So for this one, there's English and Spanish. So if I go back to the South Main Line, it doesn't automatically do this for you. But basically, what you're going to need is when we came through and they told us these things that we were needing to say, and then they said we want it to be in English and in Spanish. Okay, well, you're going to have to give us these things that they want to say in both English and Spanish. So once that's set up, you can switch between the two, and now you've got endocrino, endocrinologo, endocrinologia, right? Like Spanish versions of the things that you say in the English one. And it looks like some of these have been added and not added for Spanish. Bear in mind, I only put the initial values in here, so it looks like probably my contact over at Colorado has added some values here, Danny, and has not added them to Spanish. But your Spanish should have all the ones that you want from English translated. And it can tell what there's a way for it to tell which language you're talking in, but I haven't actually used that. You can also pass in the language, so that's what I'm doing. Is anytime they select the language in the IVR, the first thing that happens is like push 9 to continue in Spanish or something like that. In Spanish, they said that. That's all I can think of. That's pretty much it. Do y'all have any other, like, in general questions or anything that y'all saw that y'all wanted to?
No, is that GDF is in the, you sent us other GDF session. Okay, cool. The 2 links. And then what is it in the in CVP to link that? I know you put the dialogue flow element.
So inside of CVP you have close this. So you have these customer virtual assistant elements. So there's dialogue flow intent, dialogue flow param, and transcribe. And I'll tell you right now, I have no fucking clue what these two do. And these two do basically the same thing. So really all you have to know is just use this dialogue flow one. There's a pretty lengthy process for setting up dialogue flow. I can send you. So these were the instructions that came with the lab, but the lab's not around anymore. They took it out of the catalog. So I can send this to you, just that link. But I will say in 12.6 it's slightly different. It's pretty much the same. Here, I'll show y'all. We got a little time, right? Alright, so basically when you set up your Google account, you can set up a agent to use it, and then there's a JSON key that you can set up, and inside of here you put that in. So you go to features, then customer virtual assistant, and see this is the configuration. So this is the JSON key that I put in there from Google.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how you set up it, and then once you add it in all 3 of these places, and then you also save that JSON file inside of Cisco CVP conf. So here is that JSON file, and then you have to come in here and restart Cisco CVP VXML server. And this is a little technical, right? But once you put the JSON file in here, you restart the server. Now you can use this element by putting that service account ID into here. And so all it's doing is like this element takes this name and looks into both that JSON file that's in CVP and also into the VVBs that we put in from the web page, and it knows how to interface with Google. But I just sent the document, and it's basically the same as what it's in that document. So, worst case scenario, you could absolutely use that document to get one set up if you wanted to go from scratch. But as far as just using it or like seeing how Dialogflow works, y'all can just use this one. It's already set up. I think this is set up for a week. I can try to extend it. I'll do it right now.
Oh, a week. Perfect. Okay.
Edits. Let's see if it'll let me do it for a month. Yeah, it did. So this is in there for a month now. So until August 27th, that should be allowed. That same number and this Dialogflow. So y'all could fuck around with this all y'all want. I mean, create anything y'all want inside of here, inside of there. I went ahead and deleted the chimp one, so y'all can start that one over if y'all want. But basically, this Dialogflow agent, this I haven't changed this. Like I said, this is built in. This was the oh crap. I can't get back to it, but it's called y'all don't have to know. It's called Cumulus DF or something, but it's like a default project that comes pre-built whenever you do that dcloud instance. So I actually didn't change anything except for this service account ID right here. So y'all can pretty much ignore the Cisco side of it and just work with this. Y'all can put anything y'all want in there, see how it works, and use that same number, and it should be there for a month. So
Very cool. Sounds good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
all right.
Thank
I can't think of anything else that we could do right this second unless y'all have any questions. If not, then we can end.
I'm sure I'll have more as I play with it. Thanks for your time, Ryan.
Sounds good.
I'm
Hey, Grant.
good. If anything, we just ping you.
All right. Well, then I'll let y'all go, and I'll catch y'all later.
See ya.
Laters. Thank you.
Yep. Adios.